Hey everyone! Alright, so today I'm really excited because we're going to start reading one of my all-time favorite books, and this book is called The Hunger Games. It's by Suzanne Collins. I think you've probably heard of this book before. If you haven't heard the book, I'm sure you've heard of the movie. So this is what we're going to be working on over the next couple weeks, so I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, so this is a picture of the front cover of the book. Before I start reading a book, the first thing I always like to do is read the back cover, just so I have an idea if I'm going to be interested in the book and everything, and have just a general idea of what's going on ahead of time. So let's go ahead and read the back of the book together. All right, so up top it says, "May the odds be ever in your favor." I can actually full screen here. Ooh, no, I'm not. Sorry. "Ladies and gentlemen, let the 74th Hunger Games begin. In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Panem, a shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. Long ago, the districts waged war on the capital and were defeated. As part of the surrender terms, each district agreed to send one boy and one girl to appear in an annual televised event called The Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV." Wow. 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen, who lives alone with her mother and younger sister, regards it as a death sentence when she is forced to represent her district in the games. The terrain, rules, and level of audience participation may change, but one thing is constant: kill or be killed. Yikes! Sounds intense. I have a lot of questions, and now I'm excited to read this book. So let's move on, and we're going to talk a little bit about something called genre. Now, a genre, you can see here the definition, is a category of literature. Literature is a fancy word for books, stories, any sort of written work. So, for example, their genre is books or stories that have a similar form, style, or subject matter. All right, so over here we have some examples of different genres, and you may have read books like this before. A graphic novel, I think we all know what that is. A biography is a book that's about a person's life. Fantasy books, fairy tales, realistic fiction, we know that's a book that is a story that seems like it could be real, but it is made up. And then finally, we have this is called dystopia. And this is the genre of the book that we're going to be reading, The Hunger Games, a dystopia. So that's kind of a funny word. Let's keep going to figure out what exactly a dystopia is. So, a dystopia is a fictional community or society that is undesirable or frightening in some way. Okay, so if you take a look at this map down here, you can see the outline of the United States. And when we read the back of the book, it did say this takes place in what once was North America. Okay, so we're dealing in the United States area. So this is probably like way in the future is kind of what we're thinking this dystopia is taking place in. Okay, so as you can see, things are not the same as they are now on this map. You can see like over here, this is where we live, and this would be like Pennsylvania area. And our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., is right around this area. But if you look at this map, the capital's all the way over here by this big building. So it's a little bit different than the map that we're used to of the United States. Then, instead of states, they have things called districts. There's District 1, 2, 3, 4, all around, and all the way up to District 13. So it looks like there's 13 districts instead of states. And what's kind of cool about this map is they show you what each district makes. So this district here you can see has a fish. You probably could guess that they do a lot of fishing and provide the country with fish. This one has lumber, so they harvest wood, used for building, all kinds of things. Over here, we've got cattle. So every district is in charge of supplying something. Cool. All right. So a dystopia, it's an undesirable or frightening community. Fictional means not real. So we want to know what makes Panem undesirable or frightening. You might, from the back of the book, already have some ideas. Okay, before we get started, I did want to go over some important characters. Okay, so some important characters for you to remember. Our main character in this book is going to be Katniss Everdeen. We're following her story. She's our main character. So she's definitely a person you're going to want to remember. Another important character that we'll meet in chapter 1 is Katniss's sister. Her name is Primrose Everdeen, but really she goes by Prim more often. All right. And finally, we have Katniss's friend who we meet in chapter 1, whose name is Gale Hawthorne. Okay? Cool. So, before you get started reading today, what I would like you to do is set up your reading notebook. Okay? So, every day you need to have a piece of paper and a pencil with you before you start listening to the audiobook or reading it yourself. Okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is set up your notebook the same way every time, okay? So here's what mine looks like. I just have a sheet of paper on a clipboard. All right, you can see, I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here, if I can. There we go. Okay, hopefully this isn't backwards. You can see I first started with my name. I started with what chapter we're on, and then I started with an essential question. Now, our essential question for this chapter 1 is, what makes Panem a dystopia? Essential question is, what makes Panem a dystopia? Then I'd like you to write evidence and page numbers. As you listen or read chapter 1, you will be answering this essential question. What makes Panem a dystopia? As you read or listen, you will write down evidence showing what makes Panem a dystopia, as well as the page number where you found that information. Okay? This will also be in a Google Doc where you could just go on and use the Google Doc instead of writing it down. If you choose to write it down, oh, please don't say, there we go. If you choose to write it down, please take a picture of it and then send it to me on Google Classroom. If you decide that you would rather use the Google Doc, you totally can do that, and I'll show you how. You can go into, here's the assignment, Hunger Games Chapter 1. There'll be a doc here that says Reader's Notebook. You can open that, and it will take you to your own copy. Looks very similar to this, but you could just type in your answers instead. Okay? So every day for reading, you need to go into Google Classroom, open up the Hunger Games, read the chapter, or listen to the chapter. For chapter 1, I'm going to be reading it aloud to you, and I would highly suggest you listen to it because I will be giving you a lot of the answers that you need to hand in every day. Okay, guys. Please tune in to the next video where I am reading aloud chapter 1. Please listen to the entire video and follow along. Again, I'll be giving you lots of answers for your reading notebook today. Okay, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.